Yo, what's going on, guys? Sekapoko here, bringing you another 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross video. For this, we'll be going over Super Awakenings, and we're going to be talking about what you can do as a global player to save for Super Awakenings, and how you can actually prepare to get your account up to a level so that you can actually compete while Super Awakenings are launched. This guide will help all global players, whether you're free to play, pay to play, as well as a complete Omega, Whale, or Kraken, whatever you want to do. And this guide is going to be specifically breaking down each of the characters into categories so that you know exactly what characters you need to focus versus characters that you could focus for fun. So guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright, so first let's explain exactly what Super Awakenings are. So Super Awakenings, a brand new mechanic that were brought to the Japanese version that a lot of people are very, very upset about because of course they require ultimate levels. And they are something that is very, very annoying to have. So Super Awakenings are very, very, very interesting in the fact that they actually cost different amounts per level. And if we go to any different character, they're going to cost different amounts for their Super Awakenings. So let's go to a character like Jenna. Jenna is going to cost at her rank 1 here she gets an extra 2,750 HP when we Super Awaken her once. She's going to get extra crit resistance as well as 12% recovery rate. If I give her a Super Awakening coin, which is this coin right here, it will actually give her an extra 75 Super Awakening XP. If I give her a Rainbow coin, however, it will give her a 225 XP, which is her whole level bar. Now, should you use SSR coins, say for Super Awakening coins? Should you use gold coins, silver coins? What should you use? Well, let's go over that really quickly. So any SSR character is going to require, you're going to get a total, acquire 225 for the entire bar, and each SR character that you give to these characters is going to give a total of 15 XP, meaning that you're going to need a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 14, 15. I'm wrong, up by 1. 15 coins. 15 coins. 15 gold coins to get this all done. So that's how many gold coins you need for 1 level. Now, the level amount actually increases as time goes on. So if I go, the level 1 and level 2 are going to give you a 225 XP bar. The level 3, however, is going to require a little bit more, costing 450, which means instead of 15 coins, you're going to need to use 30 gold coins. And the final rank of this, which is going to be the 4th star of this, is going to require a whopping 675 XP, which is the best one to get, and even as well because it gives you extra attack, defense, and whatever other subset you want to get. And 675 XP in gold coins is a whopping 45 gold coins. So one of the things that's brought up the Super Awakenings a lot is like, oh my god, I can't believe I have to do the ultimate levels. Ultimate levels are really, really hard. Blah, 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 blah. And the thing that you got to realize is actually really hard is not actually going to be the ultimate levels. The thing that's going to be the most difficult for most players, yes, most players, is going to be the amount of XP that you need on your characters to get the Super Awakenings done. Now, why is that the case? Well, after a certain amount of time, you're going to have a large amount of duplicate characters, duplicate coins, etc. to buy the characters you need. And we're going to be going over this video exactly which characters you're going to build out and why the ultimate levels are not going to be a huge deal for a lot of players. So what's really interesting about this game, of course, is that the thing that's the most walled no matter what is going to be the character's ultimate level. And the big problem that a lot of people face is that, hey Seka, I don't have a lot of ultimate levels on my characters and I feel like I'm falling behind a lot of other players because they have large amounts of ultimate levels. Well, the thing is, you're going to have a large amount of ultimate levels on your characters over time, and if you really, really whale into the game, you will, of course, get even more amounts of those. So if you are a whale, of course, you're going to have large amounts of coins. And almost every character that you're going to want, not every single one, but almost every character, is going to be available for coins. The characters that you really want, like green Estarossa on your account, those ones have it. Red Zeldris, very, very strong character. Then we got the entirety of the coin shop units, which are the core of a lot of people's kits. Those are very, very big as well as Red Escanor. So there's a lot of characters that you can build out for coins, and many people don't realize that, you know, ultimate levels aren't an issue for the core 3 characters in your kit. And the core 3 characters I'm talking about, of course, are going to be Merlin, Blue King, and finally Red Gowther. These are the trifecta and the core to almost every single PvP team that's been out there since the game has launched. But to get a character fully Super Awakened, like Gowther's full 4-star Super Awakened, you can't even see what the stats get in, which is kind of annoying. Character fully Super Awakened, what you're going to need to do to get a character fully Super Awakened is you're going to need all the ultimate levels, which you're going to have by this point in the game, because Super Awakenings are about 2 to 4 months away, I want to say. Somewhere in that bracket, if global pace keeps on the same track. Please, Netmarble, closer to 4. And you're going to need to save up a large amount of gold coins in order to have the XP for this. Now, for most players, you can actually spend gold coins as well as rainbow coins, and they do alleviate the burden pretty heavily by giving you these Super Awakening coins. So if you do want to use Super Awakening coins on your ultimate levels, you get these from multiple different events. You get them from Hawk missions. You get them from other different story mode events. You get them from, you can potentially get them from Hawk Pass. You get them from the Tower of Trials. There's a lot of different places to get these Super Awakening coins for XP, so you don't always have to use your gold coins. And if you do save up a large amount of these, the amount of Super Awakening coins you're going to need in order to Super Awaken any character is 21. Sorry. Math hard. You're gonna need a total of 21 Super Awakening coins in order to max out any character that you want to max out. 21, because math hard, okay? Don't freak out. 21 Super Awakening coins in total. These Super Awakening coins right here. Or if you wanted to use the rainbow coins, which are just the normal character coins here, you're going to need a total of, I think 7, I want to say. 7 rainbow coins in order to max out any different characters. So if you want to save up 7 duplicates of any character in the game, like Part 1 SSR characters, etc., you could do that as well. But honestly, I would be using these SSR coins for different dupes that you can buy out of the coin shop, so you can get more ultimate levels on different characters. The thing, of course, you're going to need the most of is gold coins. And the more you spread out your resources, the less you're going to have for your kits. If you want to do these in gold coins, for every single character that you're going to want to max out, it's going to take you a whopping 105 gold coins per character to Super Awaken max a character. So you can tell when I was talking about the major problem for a lot of players is not so much the ultimate levels, it's the amount of XP that you need. So 105 gold coins per character. That's a way large amount for anybody. And you can't even really do it in silver coins, because if you were trying to do it in silver coins only provide 1 Super Awakening XP, which would mean that you need the entirety of like over 1,000 silver coins. So that's probably never gonna happen. So don't ever use silver coins to do this. I did it once for like 15. Just like the last 15 I needed. So don't use silver coins for these. Use these for AP pots, farm it up, do your thing. Farm it up, do your thing. So you can see in my box, I have a ridiculous amount of characters built out for Super Awakening, but that's because my whale level is over 9,000. And because my whale level is over 9,000, that's why I have so many different characters built out for Super Awakening. And if you don't have your whale level over 9,000, don't expect to have this many characters Super Awakened at this point. In fact, expect to have a total of about 4 to 8. All right, so for this video, I made a spreadsheet for you guys specifically on what characters you're really going to need to focus, and I got a follow alert on my face because I didn't think this through. So in Super Awakening characters, there's actually only a total of 3 characters that every person in the game is going to need to focus right away. And then what's really surprising is that every single player in the game is going to have them. The 3 characters that you're going to need are going to be Green Merlin, Red Gowther, and Blue King. They are the 3 core units on every single team in the game, for ulti rush teams, for cleansing teams, for pressure, for attack ceiling, rank up, a lot of different things. They are huge core units that a lot of people use on so many different teams. So, Sekapoko, how am I going to get these characters out on the max ultimate level? Well, by 6 months after playing the game, most people will have 6 out of 6 ultimate on all 3 of these characters. If they're free to play, pay to play, etc. Every single player in the game will have enough duplicate coins, even if they were pulling at a 2% SSR rate. If they used all their diamonds, if they've only pulled 2% on 2% of all their pulls for diamonds, you would basically have enough to still get this done. And that's if you were playing for 6 months straight. And if you're playing efficiently, you could have this done. If you're not playing efficiently or not using your resources efficiently, what happens is you're not able to do this, and it's no one's fault but your own. So you're going to have to wait longer to get these characters maxed out. So make sure that you guys do max out these units first and buy them on rotation whenever they come to the coin shop. Try to buy them on discount so that you can use your coins effectively and not waste resources. Every single player in the game should have these characters maxed by 6 months after playing. Now, the other characters that you can focus for association are going to be Red Arthur, Red Slater. The association characters for this, for Merlin, are obviously going to need Red Arthur. There is a blue SSR Arthur that comes later and a blue SR Arthur you can get. But the Red Arthur is a character that's on almost every single banner in the game. So almost every player will have this character maxed out at 6 out of 6 Ultimate by this 6-month marker. He's a very easy unit to continuously pull since he's on every single banner. He's on the Part 1 banner as well. And you can actually pick him up with gold coins. So there's no excuse to not have a 6 out of 6 gold Red Arthur by the 6-month marker. The next character on here is going to be Blue Slater or Red Slater. Now, Blue Slater is a character that you can use for association as well. And if you do want to max out a Blue Slater starting now on the global version, if you're free to play, I would definitely not recommend it. It's much more budget to do with a Red Slater build. You do lose a little bit of stats between Blue and Red Slater, so it is a little bit of a stat loss there, but it is another unit you could use. The same argument can be said for Red Arthur, but Red Arthur can be used currently in the meta and has been useful on the global since launch, whereas Blue Slater has not and is only useful for the Red Demon. And he really doesn't have any other uses beyond that point, so just know that you're not going to have as much use after that point. If you do want to build out a Blue Slater, go for it, but almost every single player in the game is going to have a 6 out of 6 Red Slater. Some people might have a 6 out of 6 Blue Slater. The other character they're going to have to max out, this is the most difficult unit that you're going to have to max out, and maybe, I want to say about 10% of players are going to be able to max out this character. It's going to be either a red, blue, or green Maternity Ann. On the Japanese version, I currently still do not have these characters maxed out, and it's really frustrating. I've been trying to get one of these characters maxed out for a very long time, and I still only have 4 out of 6 Ultimate on my green Giant Dian, and I've barely ever pulled any blue or red Maternity Ann dupes on the Japanese version. It is very frustrating for me, and you can't pick up these characters for gold coins, so it's very, very difficult. So, for all players, I originally put out a video that was regarding the best characters to max out for ultimates, for SSR association characters, etc. And the best character to max out, one of those characters was going to be Matrona Diane, whether it be red, blue, or green. And I told people that you probably should be saving all of your duplicate coins of one of the variants of the Matrona Diane in order to max the ultimate level eventually. And you're probably going to want to have that maxed by the 6 to 8 month marker. Hopefully you'll have it done by then, but we'll never know, because Matrona Diane I still don't have max on the Japanese version. And that's one of the reasons I typically don't go with a Blue King route. I usually go with a Red Gotha route because it's a little bit easier for me to max out the Blue King than it is the Matrona Diane. That's probably the most difficult character, but if you do end up maxing out a Matrona Diane, I'd say about 10 to 20% of players, if I want to be generous, will have a maxed out Matrona Diane by 6 to 8 months. That is something that you could also focus for Super Awakening. Now, the total amount of Super Awakening coins that it would cost to max out these characters would be 105 gold coins per character. And if we did 105 times 3, that would total up to be 315 gold coins. So if we did 105 for each of these characters, 105 times 3 right here would be a total of 315 gold coins that you would need to save to max out each of the core units for your account. If you did get Super Awakening coins, however, it's 21 per Super Awakening coin that you use, and that would mean you would need a total of 63 Super Awakening coins. Unfortunately, we don't get that many Super Awakening coins on the launch of Super Awakening, so many players are not going to have max Super Awakening characters unless they've saved gold coins. So the purpose of guys is, of course, to tell you guys what you're going to need to save to get that done. And if you don't have, since we're not going to have Super Awakening coins and you're going to be using Rainbow coins, you would need a total of 7 Rainbow coins each, which would total up to about 21 total coins that you would need to max all these 3 characters. So that's a large amount of duplicate coins that you're going to need to save to max out these characters for Super Awakening. So please start saving your gold coins right now, start saving your rainbow coins, and use them specifically on rotation to save as many resources as you can as a free-to-play or budget player. If you're more of a whale player and you want to be efficient with your resources, but you don't need to max out units right away, try to be as efficient and hold back on your urges to actually max out units that you don't need to max right away. Try to hold your resources when you you can and only max out units as needed. It's a much more efficient strategy, and you're going to spend a lot less money by doing so. In addition to that, you're also going to need to eventually max the Super Awakenings for your association characters. So you're going to have to do the same resource drop on the Red Arthur, Blue Slater, and Matrona Diane to get their stat bumps there. But the stat bump that you're going to get there is basically like the difference that you would get from getting a UR set on one of your characters in geared PvP. So if you did want to upgrade the UR set for a character in geared PvP on your support unit, that will be equivalent to the stat bump that you would get. So it's not a 100% necessary focus for free-to-play and budget players to get, but if you are going for like top 100 and pushing very, very hard amounts of PvP, you're going to need the same amount of Super Awakening coins for those characters, and that's going to be a very large resource suck as well. So at that point, you're going to need a total of 630 gold coins if you want to use them on just gold coins for just the 3 main characters in the game, for the actual characters and associations. The silver lining, though, at this point in the game for the Japanese version is that in Super Awakenings, we don't really use a lot of our gold coins for SR medals anymore. So that part of the game is kind of gone. So you're not like burning SR coins all the time. You're actually saving a lot of them if you're free to play. And prior to the anniversary from like LV Melee launch, I really didn't buy anything. I just maybe bought monthly week packs so I could save up for the anniversary, but I didn't like spend any of the diamonds. So I wasn't like burning a lot of diamonds every week. I think I burned on like 1 banner for the Zeldris banner, and in between that and anniversary, I saved up about 400 gold coins, and I didn't do that many pulls, so maybe I got like 30 or 40 coins out of the Zeldris banner, but I was able to save up about 30 or 40, about 400 coins since New Year's, and the LV Melee banner all the way up to anniversary. So you're able to save a lot prior to Super Awakenings. Now, I mentioned Lost Fane Meliodas, Goddess, and Anniversary, which had Goddess Liz. Now, the characters that are coming up that are big meta characters, or were big meta characters in the Japanese version, are of course Lost Fane Meliodas, which is a big meta character, and of course Goddess Liz. Those are the 2 characters that you see a lot in PvP. The main meta team, if you want to know what it is on Japan, is basically Goddess Elizabeth, Lost Fane Meliodas, Blue King, and Green Merlin. The variant, of course, is taking out Blue King and then putting in Red Gother in order to have that team be a different variant with more attack ceiling and pressure with ultimate removal versus cleansing. So the Blue King is more of a defensive strategy and relies more on the ultimate damage, whereas the other one with the Red Gother variant relies more on debuffs, lowering ultimate gauges, and counterplay. So they both have their give and take on which one is good, but either one works. And if we go into each of the characters for the characters that come out from meta characters, the Lost Fane Meliodas, Goddess Liz, Derriere, and Green Easton are all very, very strong meta characters in the game. Derriere came out right before Lost Fane Meliodas, I'd say about a month and a half or so, or a month, and she was a meta character for a while, and even during Lost Fane Meliodas' meta, she was a meta character because a lot of people did have her built out, so you could build her out. What my recommendation is I would probably save for 2 of these and work on 2 of these. Most likely, most of you are going to focus on Lost Fane Meliodas and Goddess Liz, or if you wanted to make sure that you had enough resources to work on 2 different characters, you could do Lost Fane Meliodas and Easton. You could skip Lost Fane Meliodas and go Goddess Liz and Easton, whatever you want to do. I don't know what your situation is. I don't know what you want to focus on. I know that skipping Lost Fane Meliodas was really painful for myself on the Japanese version, and I did struggle a lot in PvP because I didn't have him, and I was able to hit top tier PvP for most of the weeks. I just kind of stopped doing it for a while because Global had launched and I was focusing so heavy on Global, so I probably could have done it. I just didn't do it because I was just so busy. But I would say that you could probably still be fine without Lost Fane Meliodas in PvP. You don't necessarily need him, but he is really good. It's kind of like the Red Escanor meta right now, where you don't need Red Escanor, but he's really nice to have in the meta. Like, if you're using a Green Escanor Pierce build, it's really nice to have it. It's really nice to have Red Escanor to fight other teams, kind of like a Red Escanor meta or running a Red Escanor Pierce team. It's a really nice unit to have, but it's not 100% necessary for the meta to work. There are a lot of other teams that do work out even without that. Now, for the upcoming meta characters that are going to have association characters that you're going to need to focus on. You can either focus on Zeldris or Nunchuck Bond for Lost Fane Meliodas. Zeldris comes out after Lost Fane Meliodas, to my knowledge, or might come out at the same time, depending on what they want to do. Because, they're the Gother and Gallon kind of thing, and there might be a kind of give and take there. for like 2 separate banners or whatever they want to do. Nunchuck Bond is another character that you can do. So green Nunchuck Bond, red Nunchuck Bond, and then the upcoming blue Nunchuck Bond is also a character that you can use. Essentially, these are characters that you can basically use all the time as association for Lost Vein Meliodas. And if you use them as 6/6, they give him lifesteal. It's a 12% lifesteal gain on Lost Vein Meliodas. It's really, really good. So honestly, I probably would use that the most on Lost Vein Meliodas. For Goddess Liz, the main character that you're going to want to use is going to be Derriere or Demon Meliodas. Now you can pick between the two. Demon Meliodas might be a little bit easier as a budget player because you can buy the red Demon Meliodas dupes, or you can use blue Demon Meliodas dupes that you get from part 2. And you can get, seeing how blue Demon Meliodas is on a lot of banners, he's one of the original part 2 characters. By the time Goddess Liz comes to the game, many players will have multiple ultimate levels on their Demon Meliodas, so it might be a better route for them to go with a Demon Meliodas for blue Demon Meliodas. I'm not saying all players, I'm saying some. Demon Meliodas gives attack to Goddess Liz, which improves her shields as well as her actual raw damage, and it helps her break a lot of shields when she uses her kit. And the Derriere improves her defense, making it so it's harder to break her shields when you're fighting against her. Both of which are viable options. Typically, I go with a Derriere option because Derriere is a better supporting unit because I don't have 2 UR sets for Lost Vein Meliodas. If I did have 2 UR sets for Lost Vein Meliodas and 1 for Meliodas and 1 for Demon Meliodas, then I could possibly use that. But then one of them would be a Pierce set and then one would be a normal set, right? So then it makes no sense. So if I'm Uber Omega Whalen, sure, if you want to. But if I'm not, because that's like even the whale level is over 9,000 for that. Dude, I can't even imagine that. It's crazy. But having a Derry set is really, really nice for this. For Derriere, she also uses a Demon Meliodas, so you can see kind of a theme going forward that Demon Meliodas is a very, very nice unit to have for associations for core units. So if you do end up wanting to buy red Demon Meliodas dupes, that is one option you could do. Personally, I don't think you should be using your coins on red Demon Meliodas all the time unless you're very, very big whaling. If you are a big whale player, that would be something you could do. There are many different teams that revolve around the core 3 characters up here for Gowther, Merlin, and King. And they all involve these other characters. If you just wanted to focus on one of these teams and have that team be a major proponent and use that team against other people, you could use any of these meta characters, even including the new Isen that just came out to the Japanese version, was linked as Lilia, with these 3 core units. You can see all of them synergize with these characters. You can use a mixed match if you're lucky. You'll use like Green Merlin, Blue King, Goddess Liz, and Lost Vein Meliodas, or Green Merlin, Red Gowther, and the same. You could end up using all 3 of these characters and Derriere. That's another team. Or you could use, let's say, these 3 characters and Goddess Liz, giving you the King Beth team. There's a bunch of different variants for these meta characters. And that's why these 3 core units are so important, because there's so many teams that revolve around them. So if we go in... because there's so many teams involved around them, we can even go into now the fun character section. And in the fun character section, these are characters that are definitely not free to play friendly. You can maybe build out either a meta character or a fun character. If you want to build out a fun character, you have to know it might be more expensive than you realize, because there might be other characters that you need to build out that you currently have on your box, and they might not be in your needed character to focus. Estarossa is one of the few exceptions to the rule where Estarossa would actually work well with the current core meta. If you were using Merlin, Gowther, and King, as well as an Estarossa, that would work as a very well-rounded team and give you an Ulti Rush team that works very well against a lot of compositions when he does come out. You can also switch out a character with Estarossa, in Estarossa your team, and put in either Goddess Liz or Lost Vein Meliodas in order to give yourself an extra well-rounded team or an extra toxic team, depending on what you want to do. And seeing how he synergizes really well with Ultimate Rush teams, he's a very good character for that. Next up, we have Blue Zeldris. I didn't mention that there's Blue Zeldris because Red Zeldris is a coin shop unit. I'm going to put a pin in him because he's the coin shop units in the future. I don't want to like talk about them yet. I'll put them in a later video. I'm specifically going to be talking about the only exception to the rule, of course, is Estarossa being a coin shop unit, so you could build him out. But Blue Zeldris is a character that doesn't really revolve around any of these units very heavily. You can't really use an ulti rush team with Zeldris very effectively. Gother doesn't really work well with him too well. He works okay, but not the best. Blue King, same deal. You don't really need a cleanse if you have that. Not really the greatest. Then we have Lost Vein Meliodas, also not really the best. Goddess Liz does work pretty well with Zeldris. I do like Goddess Liz because she is kind of a supporting unit that allows for revive, so she works on pretty much every single team in the game, so she can work with him. Derriere doesn't really work well with Zeldris, and Easton kinda works okay with Zeldris, but the problem is Zeldris counters Easton at the same time as boosting Easton, so they have a conflicting relationship. I've tried it out in my Easton showcase. If you want to check that out, link to that up there. I went over exactly what the issues are with using Easton and Zeldris together and they are it's kind of annoying to use, so I'm not really a fan. Now, Fraudrin is another character that does work on the meta character teams. He is a really nice character that works for ulti rush teams. He works well with Green Merlin, Red Gother, and King. I works with Lost Vein teams, Goddess Liz teams, etc. He's just a character that stops other people from doing the same thing that you are already doing, like ulti rushing characters, but of course is the most expensive unit in the game because he's not good unless he has a lot of ultimate levels and cosmetic upgrades, etc. And even then, it's really hard to use him, but he does pretty well. Next up, we have Droll, who is a character that works really well with the new red coin shop Zeldris. You can use him with blue Zeldris if you really wanted to. I mean, they both work fine, but he works well with the new giant Deanne. He has a lot of mechanics that work really, really fun, but he came out and he's a fun character to use, but he's very whale-esque, and I'm really not sure if I would recommend him to a lot of people because it's very hard to use. I opted for the Zeldris route instead of the Droll route, so I just had a more fun time there. Shin is another character you build out. He's a really cool character that has rank ups and stuff like that, so these are all fun characters that you can build out. All right, recording got cut off there, but I'm pretty sure I have everything for upcoming fun characters. And now we're going to go into useful characters. So these are characters that we already have on the global version, and these are characters that we want you can potentially build out. These are characters you do not need to build out, but are useful for many different situations for different teams. First on the list, we got Blue Lilia, obviously one of the strongest units in the game on the global version currently, and is still a useful unit on the Japanese version. Her ultimate gauge rollback, healing ability, and overall pressure from her kit is still a viable thing that you can use on the Japanese version, but unfortunately she is still just kind of fallen out of the meta as far as a great unit to use is, but there are certain teams that do utilize her pretty well and have decent win ratios. Next up, we have Blue Demon Meliodas, who just got some revitalization with the new Easton. He does do pretty well on that specific team, but is mainly used as an association character for Goddess Liz or Derriere. That's the main use that you use him for right now, but seeing how he is a useful unit as an association, there's no harm in building him out for Super Awakening or Ultimate level because of that. Next up, we got Green Escanor, and Green Escanor is a really good character on the crit-based teams. He's kind of good in certain weeks for Pierce when Lost Vein Meliodas does come out. On Lost Vein Meliodas launch, Pierce is still relevant. It doesn't really go away. It is a team that you just consistently can use, and LV Melly can kind of counter Pierce by just using a Red King. So if you do want to use a Red King, which is one of the characters I did not put on this list because I'm foolish, we got Green and Red Escanor, and Green and Red Escanor are both really good in the meta with Pierce compositions. Very, very strong units to use even with the Lost Vein Meliodas release. Green is a little bit better than Red on LV release. You can use Pierce compositions against LV. Unfortunately, since Red King is a unit that you can use, Pierce 2 compositions still do have that deal with that nerf. And since Pierce compositions do have a large amount of critical damage, they do crit Lost Vein Meliodas a lot, giving him a lot of extra ramp up cards. It still does work, just not as well as you would like. Red King is another character that you could potentially build out for future reference for Pierce compositions, but seeing how Pierce kind of goes off the wayside, you don't really need to build him out. He's just on this list right now because he is a good character against the Lost Vein Meliodas meta, and the reason I put him up here is because he's going to be good for that meta specifically. But if you do want to use your Demon Meliodas in the future for Blue Demon Meliodas on teams, he could potentially come back as far as a research meta goes if Easton and Demon Meliodas got a team and they had a different character besides Blue Lilia that you can put on the team. You could potentially use Goddess Liz on that team as well, and that would give you kind of a well-rounded support team with an offensive team. That would also be something that you could potentially use, and that can also counter other Pierce teams, can count Lost Vein Meliodas teams, etc. But you are losing a little bit out on combat class on that team, so hopefully it works out well. Giant Diane as a good unit. Blue Giant Diane is actually one of those units that's really surprisingly good. She is very good against the Lost Vein Meliodas meta team as an ulti rush team. It works well with Gowther, Merlin, and King as an ulti rush character. She does a large amount of damage toward enemy teams, and because she has an attack seal, it makes it really nice against Lost Vein Meliodas because you can attack seal Lost Vein Meliodas with a low amount of crit chance. Because she has a low amount of crit chance, she does do less damage to him, making it so that he does get attack sealed, and you don't crit him to rank up his cards very often. So it's actually kind of a nice thing against Lost Vein Meliodas to have as a specific character goes. Gowther, I think Diane have pretty similar crit values as well, and Diane's ultimate can still one-tap enemy teams, giving her a nice decided advantage. Next up, we have Green Matrona Diane, which is a very, very interesting unit to use in the meta, and she does work kind of well with a Fraudrin composition with Lost Vein Meliodas in there, some mix. It isn't the best possible team, but it is a team that you could potentially use, and she does resist a lot of enemy team damage because of her high defensive stat value. And when Super Awakenings come, as well as PvP rules come, you can actually resist entire King single target damage cards, which is really, really interesting to see. And that's kind of why Red Merlin got a resurgence in her meta when she came to the game. I'm not going to put Red Merlin on this list because she does kind of in and outs on the meta, and that kind of doesn't happen prior to Super Awakening. It's kind of the same as using Red King, but I would say Green Merlin would be a better focus. Next up, we got Green Valenti, and Green Valenti is a character that you could potentially use. She did have some use in certain weeks of PvP, even after Lost Vein Meliodas came out, because she was able to resist a large amount of rush from enemy teams, and I was actually able to push up pretty high with about 75% win rate with Valenti teams in PvP while using Valenti against Lost Vein Meliodas teams. And what the thing that actually popped up was, because I was using Valenti, I was able to reduce just enough damage from Lost Vein Meliodas' rush to actually use green characters in my team like Merlin or whatnot in order to just counter Meliodas' team and counter his full send rush. I was able to use blue Meliodas in there and some other characters just to have fun, and it actually worked out okay. I was very surprised, and it did work, and when it did work, it was nice. The next character that we can, of course, work on is the last character of the list is going to be Green Death Pierce. And he's a useful character for any kind of crit-based team you'll be using in the future. So if you ever wanted to use a crit-based team with, say, Escanor, Zeldris, Levi, whatever you want to use, Death Pierce is going to be one of those characters you're probably going to want to save dupes of, as well as want to save other characters for Super Awakenings for the future to give you that nice little well-rounded team. Those are the characters I would think that you would have the most useful characters on your account. I'm not sure which people out there are going to have a 6 out of 6 Levi, 6 out of 6 Mikasa, etc. So I didn't really include the AOT units in here as well. And I also did include the coin shop units that are coming out in the future for the Japanese version. For all the characters on the list above here, you can see have very, very common associations like Matrona Diane, green or blue Meliodas, Griamore, Matrona Diane again, Merlin, Liz, Gowther, and then the one that's kind of rare is Hendrickson. And Hendrickson is a character that many people won't have built out, but they can build an SR Hendrickson if you want to, and you can go with a Super Awakening on that if you do want to. But for Super Awakening characters, these are all characters that you're going to need to have focused on for ultimate levels, characters that you're really going to need to have built out and to the maximum level. But the main three, which makes Super Awakenings a lot less scary, of course, are Merlin, Gowther, and King. The amount of gold coins you're going to save, again, for those three characters is 315 gold coins. And you can use a lot of these characters with those characters. You wanted to use Blue Lilia with those characters, Green Escanor with those characters, Blue Giant Diane with those characters. It all works. So you can even use the upcoming meta characters like Lost Vein Meliodas, Goddess Liz, Derriere, whatever you want. There's a lot of different options for that, and because the core 3 characters are very, very easy to build out for many players by the 6-month marker, you should have a lot easier time. Alright guys, my name is Sekapoko. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it actually helped you understand how Super Awakenings work, as well as what you can actually do to prepare for Super Awakenings and make you feel like the burden is a lot less heavy. The only thing that's going to be very heavy, of course, is my experience, is going to be the cost and the amount of gold coins it's going to cost, as well as Super Awakening coins and Rainbow coins, which can definitely be alleviated by Netmarble just giving us more resources. So the amount of characters that you're going to need is only 3 characters that we're all going to have high ultimate levels on anyways, so Super Awakenings can be a very much less problem for a lot of people. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys, of course, like and subscribe, all the fun stuff, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.